Everybody go tapping with the pop with Tigmatic.
Y'all tune into the Pop Podcast. And guess what? There's an episode of me on
and you are tuned into the Pop Podcast.
And with the Pop Podcast with my boy Tigmatic. You hear me? It's going down.
To follow the Pop Podcast with Tigmatic.
That's that number one.
That's that number one.
Louder. Say it louder.
When he was in the streets of Philly, playgrounds, he was like, you know what they call him?
What?
Black Jesus.
American hustler. Tone Trump. West Philly to the world. Let's win. Bunch of shooters with no aim. They just happy to be spraying. They praying that I fell. I'm just happy that they praying. Had a convo with my son. He only 3, but he's so smart. Told him only fear law and stay away from all these marks. Walking through the vibe, I got Versace on. They ain't really one, see the Aki on. I trust the cutter, stay away from suckers. If it ain't the Trumps, it's the forces or the butters. 10 toes down, I'm hustling like you should be. Rich Muslim, know the feds won't book me. In the Sprinter talking money with my ox. They tryin' by the bar, I'm tryin' by the block. Real estate, feel the hate. Before the deal, I've been a great. I'm still a great, you still hating. Penthouse suite, OJ and turkey bacon. And I need the grits with the cheese in it. Big boy rollie with the freeze in it. Weird niggas always trying to talk that rap shit. Me and Low in the back talking trap shit. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold. Welcome to my ghetto. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold. Welcome to my ghetto. Mother shit. They kill at will. Fresh Prince to the ghetto, man, I feel like Will. Nitty home, she home, now we just need kill. Inshallah, make dua for the appeal. This ain't a rap song, this is real life. This ain't that rapper jewelry, baby, this is real ice. VVS's, look at the clarity. I'm a Muslim dying, look how they stare at me. Another sock drive, that's for charity. I'm the greatest, stop comparing me. Say a prayer for my Akis and themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us under. Say a prayer for my Akis and themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us out of hell. Say a prayer for my Akis and themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us out of hell. Say a prayer for my Akis and themselves. May Allah have mercy and keep us out of hell. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold. Welcome to my ghetto. West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where I spend most of my days. The summers is hot, the winters is cold. Welcome to my ghetto.
shots of Manolo. Freshly fitted in polo. My money got O's like Ocho. EYI's the label, check out the logo. If you wanna bounce, bitch, pogo. Built this here on my own, ho. Step to the side, let me slide in this photo. Been a businessman, I got euros and peso. Real definition of a hustle flip all dough. Might see me deep in my bag, Robert De Niro. Shooting at you niggas like Steph and Hero. Beef, I'm about that nigga, deflate your ego. I'm out of state doing great, me and me go. Can't fast forward the game, there's no cheat code. Your bitch on my line all day, just like a free throw. It's over for you niggas, check the last bar, finito. Fresh out and I fit right in. Knocked the bitch and we spent the night in. First night was like a burst of life. Second night she invited a friend. You fake niggas all like to pretend. Don't mind me, I'm at it again. I'm ahead so close, all I see is the wind. It's a little too late for the competition. Not to mention, I've been penny pinching. With a sack so fat, I don't need attention. I got connects with Jordan, I'm the real pimpin'. Soaking in my thoughts, call it double dipping. Choose the right light, you can never lose sight. Take a leap of faith, it's great, you'll be alright. Pop the champagne, it's the ace of spade night. They betting on me like a Floyd Mayweather fight.
Any girl that wants Dior, I'll be your whore. If you adore her, Dior her.
Yo, what's up, y'all? You're now tuned in to another episode of the podcast with Tigmatic. And hey, listen, it's your boy. Welcome on this beautiful Wednesday. It's hot outside down here in North Carolina, folks. But as always, this episode is brought to you by Red Patch, TheMoneyBrand.com, NorthShadeTheMore.com, Hollywood TV, Hollywood Radio, Hollywood Music, Going In Radio, and the podcast with Tigmatic, and Dollar Radio. We here. So, I hope y'all feeling good today. I'm feeling good today. You know, I was, going through it a little bit, but I'm good now. And my guest is here today. And I know people think like, oh, listen, it's mental health awareness month for men. But the one thing I wanted to say is, what about the women that help the men along the way? We got a shaker and mover here today, and she is lit. And when I say she lit, she's a dope soul, dope individual. She's very cool, very calm, very collective. And she's one of the ones, as usual. I've been saying this since last week. One of those ones. And we know what the ones are. Ones that help make things happen. So, without further ado, I'll give y'all my guest, Lex Wilson. Hey.
What's going on? Good evening.
Hey. Welcome to the podcast with Tigmatic.
Oh, thank you for having me. Like, you're an awesome individual. You're an awesome spirit. And it's just awesome to be a part of such an awesome movement. Everything's
awesome. I appreciate it. So, Queen, I like to give my guests the floor and introduce themselves to the world for those that don't know. So the floor is yours.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. So what's up, everybody? My name is Lex Wilson Lyles. Kansas, Alabama, born in Kansas, raised in Mobile, Alabama, now reside in the DMV. I'm a music enthusiast. I am very passionate about music. Have my own independent label, King Entertainment, which is based in Mobile, Alabama, and I am VP of a production company by the name of No Lane Productions. Right now, I'm taking up an internship with Ocean 5 Records as the director of public relations, and that is such an esteemed event, like not event, organization, right? And they're just full of awesome people, and I'm just on this road of learning and becoming something far greater than what I am today. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Hey, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right. So, you said you're from Kansas, but raised in Alabama. What was that like?
Oh, man, it was, first and foremost, when it comes down to the ecosystem, it was a super extravagant change. You go from grassland to no trees to, plateaus and a ton of trees and alligators in the middle of the road. So it was definitely an exciting change for me.
Okay. That's what's up. Kansas. Forgive my old headism. I just invented that word, by the way. Forgive my old headism. But when I hear Kansas, I think of Superman. I think of,
Wizard of
Oz. The Wizard of Oz. Oh, you know what's coming.
Hey, we're the land of a lot of crazy stories.
Yeah. So it's good to hear someone out here that's a shaker and mover. So before we get into these questions, tell us a bit more about your upbringing. What was that like?
Yeah, so my father, he's a music enthusiast to the T, right? So I grew up, reading his raps, watching him mix down songs, produce songs, and my cousin was also a beat maker at the time. So I was always around that for sure. And then same with my mom. Now my mom, she's more on like the business corporate side, but the way that she would speak and articulate her ideas, I liked first and foremost her handwriting. So I would like go through her letters. I would, try to forge her signature. I hope she's not watching this. That's how I was able to build up a couple C's and D's on my progress report, right? But I was around a bunch of writers from the start, my dad and my mom. But on the musical tip, my father was the one that gotten me into that loop of like experimenting with sounds, experimenting with the voice. I learned how to like manipulate your delivery. And at the point of time before I made it into the music scene, I aspired to be a voice actor, an astronaut, like all this other stuff. Okay. So yeah, a lot of virtual
plans going.
What? Like I was just all over the place. I wanted to be the Renaissance of this day.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. All right, so Lex, as someone juggling multiple roles in music, PR, and film, how do you prioritize your mental health?
You got to give yourself a break because it can become a whirlwind if you don't. So just starting with time management, organizing a calendar, figuring out my priorities from greatest to least, and taking the initiative for getting my greatest priorities out the way by Wednesday. Because when it comes down to the weekend, I want to take a nap. I want to sleep in the full 8 hours. Yeah, so time management is so important to mental health, especially when you're taking on so many roles.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of the times in this industry, we can experience burnout from doing so much. So one of the greatest things for the mind when you're doing anything is rest.
That's factual.
Yeah. All right. So here's my next question. Have there ever been moments in your journey where burnout felt overwhelming, and how did you push through?
Oh yeah, so this goes into the current production that we're working on, which is like it's our first full-fledged production that we're over. When it came down to the editor situation, having to take that initiative to edit a full film and having like a hard deadline to do all these things, having to sort through data wrangling and all of this other crazy stuff, missing down tracks, which by the way, I'm not like a sound engineer, so I'm having to go to YouTube and then go back and forth on these tracks. How I managed the burnout at that time was just stepping away and just recouping my thoughts. When we get caught up in a ton of work, especially when we have a hard deadline, we tend to forget that we're alive. I know I had a couple of times where I'm just sitting here and next thing you know, I'm frustrated, I'm irritated. I'm like, like I'm ready to just go against and break something, go against the world and just break stuff. But you got to just step away. Because sometimes the longer you stay in front of that source of irritation, the more prone you become to either messing something up or it's taking a toll on your health in some way, shape, or form. Unbeknownst to you, it can gradually eat away at something that's in here. So just stepping away, take a breather. You don't even have to come back to it the same day. Maybe the next morning will be a better day.
That's right. That little break can refresh your mind and create new ideas. So it's always good to do that, And I'm a big advocate for resting your mind so you can be a better creator, no matter what it is. Film, music, school, whatever it is. So, yeah, I agree with you there 1,000%. All right. So, do you think mental health is still stigmatized in the indie music industry, especially for women in leadership roles?
Oh yeah, for sure. Most definitely. Like it is still there. And just there are little factors that play a part of that. Just being a woman in a leadership role in the industry, that carries a lot of weight on its own. Because it's like the initiative that people take when considering women for roles is, can they get emotional? Can they do this? Can they do that? And it's like, we're capable of doing so much. However, like with everything that we're about to take on, we don't want people of higher authority to attach how stressed we can get in these environments to the stereotype of women having emotions and letting their emotions dictate their business decisions and whatnot.
I agree. So how do you help channel the men and the male artists that you deal with their mental health on a daily basis? Break that down a bit.
What was that first part? I'm sorry.
How do you help the male artists on your roster channel dealing with things in their mental health on a daily basis?
Yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, it's all about organizing the projects, right? Their task list, what they have set for that week. And I take that initiative of reminding them that, the creative process can be a bit, tedious. It can lead to frustrations. You may have writer block. You may feel like something's hindering you along these processes. And especially with not only songwriting and curation, but media curation, because they're spending so much time in their creative processes. I'm like, just take it a step at a time. If you feel that you're getting a bit irritated about something, or, if something just isn't looking like it's going to fulfill itself, just step back, and I share my testimonials. I share my testimonials where it's like, I have to sort through documents every day. I have to look at my calendar each day and see that, not even realizing that it's the day of a shoot that I have to go to all the way in Baltimore. But I just step back. I discard myself from that for a moment and I recollect. And while I'm doing something else that, isn't as difficult, then I will be back in the right mindset. I will be level-headed when I do attack whatever project it is that's awaiting for me.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Seems like you know how to carry it for your artists.
I mean, it's important, and they forget too. It's a thing. Like when you're overexerting yourself in your craft, you really do forget that you are a living person. There were weeks where I would sit in front of the computer going back to the film edit, right? I would sit days at a time and I would just, I would be hungry. And then I step on a scale. I went from 145 to 135. I'm like, no. And that's when I was like, I can't do this because it's affecting my health and it's also affecting my peace of mind. So when it started doing that, then you just got to step back and you just got to care about you first, your well-being.
So you said earlier that you're a VP of a label, right?
Oh, I'm the director of public relations at Ocean 5 Records.
At Ocean 5, but you said King Entertainment. What was your role there?
Oh, yes. I am one of the CEOs and founders of King Entertainment.
So tell me about King Records and its inception, and then we'll get to Ocean 5.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, just based off of my dad's passion and desire to achieve things in music and to further assist artists, we came about with King Entertainment record label. That was in 2018. He was like, hey, why not make a platform where we can further help assist artists? Because, to get a deal at a major label, it's a bit more intricate and there are a bit more, confines within the legal side of things. So we would be free of that. Let the artists keep their publishing, their royalties, and we just provide them with a distribution deal where we can monitor their analytics and help them, plan out their marketing and rollout plans when it comes to their future projects. So that was pretty much the intent of King Entertainment, was to further help and advise independent artists and give them that platform to expand and grow. So we're kind of like the home they can always come back to, regardless of where they end up in life. It's like, we're here for you. Just let us know what the goal is, and we will try our absolute best to help.
Oh, that's cool. I think that's very dope within itself. And like I said, I know I told you earlier, I say that a lot, but I really do. So I want to get into that. You know, how do you mold the artist by analytics? Like let's break that down a bit for those that don't know. And you know, they hear these things a lot. Like, oh, the analytics. And some people aren't technical. For those that don't know how this works, break it down just a small tad bit for them.
Absolutely. So the analytics of your music dictate who your audience is. So when it comes to geographical detail, when we get that big data report every end of the month, it details where your audience is listening to, the frequency of the streams, and we tie that frequency with the actual location and be like, okay, that's interesting. So if you got 70 listeners in South Korea, why do you have 70 listeners in South Korea? What song are they listening to? And then we find out what song they're listening to, and we're like, okay, bet. So you have a fan base that exists in South Korea. Why not cater content to South Korea, personalize your approach a bit to where you can gain more listeners, because you don't have 70 listeners anywhere else. It's only in this particular area. But all of that generates conversions, stream, potential merch sell. You know, if they like you that much, then of course they're going to buy like a shirt or anything that you may have to offer under your brand name. And it's also, yeah, and it's also, you know, like it's an audience identifier. So we're kind of building this profile of what the audience look like along the way of your streaming activity. And then when we have like maybe 3-4 months of that report, and we see that now you have 300 listeners in South Korea, and you know, a bit of that you know, that streaming activity can come over to social media, and you may get like 3 or 4 new followers. We look at all of their information, their interests, what they like to listen to, similar artists that they're following, and that kind of helps narrow down the search when it comes down to who we're trying to market to, and not waste money, you know, putting out a campaign that's targeting everybody in the world.
Oh man, that sounds like you do a lot.
It's really,
to be honest, but it helps the artist in a real way, you know. So I think that's admirable, and I think that's awesome. So to help these artists, what are some like blocks or obstacles you had to go through along the way to, you know, reach the pinnacle for artists? Share that a bit. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, so as far as like helping the artists reach their milestones and whatnot, you know, we have to scale it on feasibility, right? So I know for one R&B artist that we had to work with, had no listener fan base whatsoever, but was aiming for the stars. And we said, let's take baby steps, right? Let's see if we can develop that organic fan base and make those your fans in longevity. So your career has longevity. Now, you know, having to work with artists that have no fan base, it's really hard to pitch them, especially to small businesses and any business whatsoever, because they look at those numbers and they're like, I can't make no money off of you. And I hate that that's the mindset. And they're not thinking from the fan perspective, like, okay, I really do like this person. Instead of making it a number-based thing, just give them a shot. You know, let them be featured in your in-store playlist. And it's little to no labor involved in that whatsoever. It is simple as you going on Spotify, putting them on your playlist, because you're not going to change it anytime soon, come to find out. And just giving them that support. And then not only are you planting a seed, but when that artist do blow up, maybe 2-3 fiscal years from now, you can have the leverage of saying that, yeah, I remember them. I had put them on my playlist when they came through, had no listeners, bada boom. And then when it comes down to the incentives later on, contingent upon how many people they have following them purchasing merch. Then you can look into the profitability of everything.
Yeah, and the revenue. Yeah,
and you get it for a discount because they remember you supporting them, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. All right. So when it comes to Miss Wilson, this is a question specifically for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, what self-care routines do you use on the daily that keeps you balanced emotionally and mentally?
Oh, prayer. But before I do my amen, God is so good. And I got a funny story to share. Yes, sir. So, starting off the morning, I'm an early bird. I wake up either at 5, the latest is 6:30. So I go to 7-Eleven, get my extra large cup of coffee. The gentleman that always serves me and my husband, funny, right? His name is Solomon, King Solomon.
Oh,
so it's always a pleasure to see him, and he's just as wise as can be. So that's the motivation to get up, get this coffee, and then we go up to the highest part of the parking garage, and we have a prayer session. We meditate on the day, looking for, ask God for that perseverance and to be with us through our trial and tribulations, whatever presents itself in a day. And we just take that initiative. It's not a quick prayer either. It's not a quick meditation situation. We're out there for like a good hour and a half. And we have our freedom as far as like thinking about us and nothing that we're about to dive into as far as projects.
First, that part. And for a lot of people, they might not like when I get spiritual, but my show is ran, authorized, and directed by Jesus Christ. I'm gonna just throw that out there.
Right.
So, I agree with you. Spending that time with the Lord is definitely important. And, when you do that, it actually helps your focus because you gave your time to Him first.
That's right.
Once you give your time to Him first, when you give Him what He asked for, He'll give you what you asked for. So, we know how that goes. But for those that don't, I just wanted to throw that out there, folks. All right. So, how do you manage anxiety during big rollouts or artist campaigns, especially when so much is riding on your strategy?
Yeah, so for sure with rollout plans or just any plan, these are large plans. So it's a lot to take in at first. So to kind of ease the anxiety a bit, I like to break everything down in segments and make it to where it's more of like I'm spending maybe like an hour or two on that one particular task. It's not really bleeding into the rest of everything I have planned for that day. And just piecing it all together. Because if you try to take that initiative, I've learned the hard way when I was at Full Sail, trying to take the initiative of doing 14 pages in 3 days, because, I like to make my deadlines a bit before the deadline. So taking that,
No, I was saying, sure, I agree.
Oh, yeah. So, just breaking it down, it reduces the stress tremendously, as opposed to trying to get all of that stuff collated into 2-3 days, and then you're pulling your hair out. And my husband can also vouch because he knows I can get really pissy, excuse my French, when I'm trying to do a lot. And he'll try to, feed me. Oh, you want some food? No, get out. Just get out. So just take it. And, you don't got to worry about having those lash outs and whatnot when you're just taking it a step at a time.
Oh, that's cool. So tell me a bit about Ocean 5. Now we can get into it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about your role and how important to what you do, how important it is. And let's talk about some artists and things like that. So you have the floor.
Yes. So Ocean 5 Records is a record label that was founded in 2022 by Skylar Ward. She's a Full Sail alumni, has 4 degrees, and she's popping big-ish, like very versatile in all elements. And for me, I was blessed with the opportunity as of January to be a media publicist with the organization. And as of April, I was promoted to Director of Public Relations. And in our department, what we tend to do is look for brands and avenues that pretty much align with the artist's overall brand and their aesthetic, and just try to pitch them onto like in-store playlists, look for collaborations and performance opportunities. So we're pretty much looking for, opportunities for them to monetize off their brand, but also gain exposure.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yeah, and then the artists, oh my goodness. We have an array of artists. We have a praise Afrobeat dance hall artist, believe it or not. I love her. Her name is Teresa Boucher. She was on Australian Idol for a couple seasons, and she's an understudy for The Lion King. Total sweetheart. She's always productive. I work with a South African Christian pop artist by the name of Dominic Van Wyck. She's a total sweetheart too. And, her fan base is rapidly growing. As of April, I think we had like a 500 monthly listener increase. And that was just simply by me, making my first impressions, talking to other companies and whatnot. And since then, everybody's just been on board. They love her. They think she's beautiful. And then I'm working with this alternative R&B artist by the name of Yakre. She's extremely different. And I think what she's doing is pivotal to the R&B landscape. And she actually has 2 performance opportunities this year. She will be participating in the MOB Music Festival.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Man, what? And she's still
That's
getting...
major.
Oh, yeah, it's dope. And then she has the Tone World Festival that takes place in December. So it's some people that's really trying to get her onto the festival lineup and whatnot. And then we have Michaela Major. She's awesome. I think everybody that we work with are like total sweethearts. I'm not trying to make the men look fruity on the label, so sorry in advance. You guys are sweethearts, okay? But Michaela is a sweetheart. She's family oriented, and she's more of a praise worship leader. She implements her lifestyle into her music, country singer, and she's exceptional when she performs live. And she also will be performing at the MOB Music Festival. And when people hear her, she will be more than eligible to perform at Floribama events. So that's the goal when we get her in front of all those people.
Okay, that's cool. So any rap artists?
Oh, of course. So we got Fo AK. Yes, Fo AK. He's awesome. He has my favorite song by him is Soda. Shout out to Melissa for putting me on. And then we have Chico G. He's a Latin rap artist. And I will tell you this, like his visuals are very stand out. They stand out a lot. And that's one thing I love about him is his versatility and willingness to step outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Plus we have Djilla. Djilla's a cool guy. And we have, let's see, we have a lot. I want to say Swish. Swish is in New Jersey. And he has a viral worthy song right now. It's called Shit Like That. And that one is really like...
Keep it clean. But
oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. But it's like that. And yeah, it's a really, viral type song. You can see a lot of people dancing to it. And I feel once we take that initiative and continue to push it out to the audience, that it will definitely reach its potential. So yeah, we have a lot of artists and of different walks of life, of course. And then Cliffside Bam, he's a Texas-based artist, also, rap and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That is definitely cool. So, what's it been since you've been on board? What's it been like?
Oh yeah, it's been awesome. Everyone is so collaborative and helpful. But one thing I truly admire about Ocean 5 is they're the pinnacle of what an independent label should be, right? So when it comes to signing new artists, they're extremely attentive to making sure that the artist is comfortable with thoroughly communicating their desires and their goals. It's not a corporate environment. They foster a community of, hey, we're your biggest fans. We're going to have your back regardless of what, your goals are. And we're going to take it to the moon. And we're going to make the whole world know of it. So they're really ambitious, goal driven. Everyone that's on board is super collaborative, innovative, if anything. And they're following the change of the landscape as well, always keeping up with trends, understanding the analytics, looking for ways to find solutions when it comes to structuring marketing campaigns. How are we going to do this with said budget? What outlets can we pitch this person to? And how can we help the artist monetize? So they're always looking for opportunities for helping the artist not only develop, but give them that opportunity to reach a broader audience and to also see some return of investment from their efforts in their creation.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So that was a music question. Now it's back to the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel isolated or mentally drained when constantly creating for others? If so, what's your outlet?
Yeah. So for, larger projects with different artists, I do feel sometimes, well, it depends. When you're the one that's developing the structure of the plan and the marketing campaign, and depending on their goal, if it's feasible or not. I did have an instance where the goal was a bit out of reach, and knowing that I was the only person doing the edits and trying to make everything make sense. It's just me and the artist is out performing, so I didn't have the one to really communicate with. So I definitely strayed away, ostracized myself for like hours at a time. I'll still have the whole blueprint on my computer, and it just made me feel a bit of resentment towards the overall project, right? But my outlet for that was simply listening to bossa nova. At that time, I'm a huge bossa nova fanatic. I love Astrid Gilberto, Hair Rodriguez, all of them. And so I would just put in my earphones. I'll go for a walk and right down the street, tristeza, por favor, mi amor. And you have the pedestrians looking at me like I'm crazy, but this is the way that I convert the negative into the positive, right? Just by singing it out. So yeah, that was an outlet for me.
Well, just listening to what I just heard, it sounds like you have a singing voice yourself. So do you sing as well?
Oh man, I lost it. I used to be in jazz choir, and being like the one person that typically got the solos, I kind of hated it because it's like I had a bit more pressure on me, and everybody was just kind of cool with singing the background vocals. So yeah, I was in a jazz choir. I was in Bells of Baker as well for like 3 years. I was in musical theater, but I was more of your writer. I did like a bunch of comedic monologues and funny little playwrights, which did make it to state trumpet in Alabama. And I think cool. Yeah, thank you. And I think I was almost placed. I was like maybe 8th or 9th place from being in like the top 4, which I'm gonna say this, I'm a sore loser. So I did not take that with a grain of salt. I was stumping away. My colleague Pierce, he had a trophy, but he was in 3rd place. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. He's like, I'm in 3rd place. Do you think I'm happy about this?
Oh, that's funny. Hey, listen, sometimes we want to win all the time. I even had to break that down earlier today to my youngest. So you're not going to win every time. You just practice until you get to the top. That's all.
That's right. That's right.
So, all right. You've worn many hats: CEO, artist, marketer, videographer. What role challenged your mental stamina the most?
Very good question. I would say perhaps the videographer and a bit of the editor hat that I had to wear. And
okay, tell me why.
Simply because when it comes down to gigs, you never know what you're really walking into, because when it comes to the smaller gigs, no one has a continuity log. Excuse me. So you're kind of going off of your own whim and your own vision. So a bit of the stress come from the expectation of the person that paid you to do or to cover the event, because they may have a whole different picture in their head. But once you communicate with them, like, hey, like, what are some highlights of this event? What are you exactly trying to get out of this event? I mean, what am I covering? And they'll give you like maybe 3 or 4 points, but then, you know, you sit in front of the editor's desk and then they give you a call and they're like, hey, did you manage to get that one thing? I'm like, you never told me about that one thing. So I would have to think quick, and thank God I'm, you know, a talker, because I would get everyone's contact information and just be like, hey, can we get like a quick shot, you know, an emergency shot of you talking about the event, because apparently I was supposed to get you, but it was never verbalized to me. So I definitely had to use my mental stamina in those circumstances.
You know what I'm hearing through all of these answers, though?
What's that?
You're very professional and you know how to handle it. You know how to move around. You know how to get to it. And from what I'm seeing and hearing here is that your faith is what leads that. And for some, that could be a very hard feat to deal with, you know? So my next question is about King Entertainment, okay? So tell me about some moments you questioned your abilities. How did you move past the self-doubt with your abilities?
Oh,
If
yeah.
you ever questioned them.
Totally. I'm definitely my worst critic. When it started off with doing photography, for me, everything I did, I felt it wasn't good enough. And, you know, we often forget that outside of what we think, there are varied opinions. And so things really, you know, began to get light for me when I would do certain photo shoots and hear, you know, my clients and whatnot speak highly of the things that I had done for them. And then I look at it, and I had to kind of break myself out of this. Just when dumping. Sorry.
I got you. I knew what you meant.
Look, I'm hungry. I'm kidding. But no, when data dumping, I would look at those same pictures and, you know, just right off the whim, I just have like 1,000,010 things that I could improve on with that one shot. But then I had to counteract that with the remarks that were given by those external perspectives and be like, you know what? Maybe I'm being a bit hard on myself because this doesn't look too bad. And of course, I go to my father and I'm like, what do you think about this? He's like, yeah, that looks fire. Like, what? This is a really great shot. You got the water in motion and this, that, and the third. Like, this is great. So, you know, there were plenty of times where I would be harsh on myself because I always feel that I can do much better. I don't, even to this day, I'm better, by the way. But even to this day, I have critique for myself, but it's not as harsh as it used to be years ago.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, I understand that because I'm kind of like that with the flyers. When I'm making the flyers, I'm trying to be creative, trying to come up with a concept that matches the person's name and, you know, and what it is they do. So, you know, even when it came to your flyer, I was up for hours trying to come up with a concept for your flyer, you know. So I understand being hard on yourself when it comes to being creative and trying to get something done, you know, and you really just want that person to be like, oh, yeah, this was fine, you know, and got that result. I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, yeah, that was epic. Like the motion graphics and everything was like top notch. So thank you for just your expertise on that. That was fire.
I appreciate that you liked it. It was all for you. All right. So you've grown a lot since Full Sail. How did your college experience shape your mindset today in high pressure situations?
What was that beginning? One more time, sorry.
I said you've grown a lot since Full Sail.
Mm-hmm.
How did your college experience shape your mindset today in high pressure situations?
Oh yeah, definitely. So with Full Sail, they've shown me the scope of everything that I'm doing. I've learned a lot more technical things that I wasn't aware of with my prior knowledge. And they've ultimately helped me prioritize my goals a bit better, with the deadlines and, having to attend this meeting and that meeting. So I think I developed more of, time management throughout my program. And essentially, once more, understanding that behind every brand, behind everything, literally everything, there is a very intricate process.
That's right.
With everything, from a team being assembled to develop a phone, right? So it's like there are so many components to one thing that we may look at as small. So I now have a shifted perspective. When I look at a coffee cup, for instance, I I can't help but to think, like, how many people were involved with this cup, learning about patents, all the crazy lawsuits that had came about with, like, simply the assigned color. Like Reese's went after a couple companies for using the same orange. So, I can't look at anything and just casually see it. I have to see the process behind it now.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can definitely understand that and see that. You want everything to be perfect. All right, give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on, give me 1 second. All right. You there? Can you hear me?
I surely can.
Okay. All right, it's something not playing back. Having a little technical difficulty here.
Ain't no worries. The enemy try to stop great when he sees it.
That's right. He definitely is working. That's his plans. He likes to steal, kill, and destroy. Not over here.
I know that's right. We rebuke it.
All right. So, coming from Salina, Kansas, a quiet place, how did your roots influence your perspective on peace, purpose, and mental clarity?
Yeah, so Salina, like you said, is very tranquil. It's quiet.
Salina. I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
Oh no, you're fine. Look, a lot of people say Salina, believe it or not. I'm like, we'll just roll with it. I think it's prettier that way anyway. Salina sounds like saline, so it's like chemical, But anyways,
right.
Coming from an environment like that, I think I really do take into consideration that in my childhood, I had an early introduction of what a peace of mind was. Simply going out, with my grandpa and my grandma, we're driving, and all I see is the horizon and grasslands, occasional tree patches and whatnot, and not having a worry in the world. It was definitely quiet, never had to worry about crowded areas. And again, I really feel that just simply my surroundings and the lifestyle that I was brought up in, right? Family oriented, having a good time, always being around each other, listening to one another, open communication. It showed me something that's invaluable. And anywhere I go now, I just keep reflecting to Salina and how quiet and loving the environment was. Other places is quite busy. You're having to look over your back, having to change route because there may be a couple crazy people at the metro and things like that. So, if anything, that area has given me a profound understanding of what peace is.
Oh, that's major. So how about Alabama? Like, what was that like for you?
Oh yeah, so Alabama, I'll say so Mobile is, it's a very family oriented place, beautiful landscape, awesome people. It is a bit busy. I won't say it's the most perfect place because it it can be the equivalent of DC depending on what season and week it is.
Right.
But ultimately, the cultural shift has shown me, well, it has taught me to be a bit more open minded and just to appreciate every aspect of a person that comes into your life. If you make a new friend and you learn about, their traditions and their cultures, I've learned at an early age when I was in Mobile to embrace that. So, if anything, I've learned to learn from others and to have an open ear and open heart towards others and whatever their walk of life was.
So what's a major city near Mobile, Alabama? I never even heard of this town.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. So we're about 2 hours away from New Orleans. You have Biloxi, that's about a good 45 minutes with no traffic. And then you have Atlanta, that's about 5 hours. Montgomery, Montgomery's about 2.5 hours, but it's Montgomery. No offense to Montgomery.
historical historical place.
Oh yeah, super.
Yeah. Oh man, that's cool. All right. So, what role did your upbringing in Kansas play in how you approach challenges in the music and entertainment business today?
Yeah, so what's more just kind of like reiterating that understanding of peace. I
Mhm.
like to put myself in a mental place when it comes down to the stresses of the industry, right? So I would bring myself back to that place, that quietness, the wind, wisping, just seeing the grass, and ultimately promising myself that one day I will revisit that area so I can experience that peace again. So it's like I have something in my head mentally that I'm working toward. So my brain's kind of like, okay, yeah, you can push through this because now, once you get this done, you'll have a higher probability of taking a vacation and going back to Salina and
Oh,
reliving
that's cool.
that peace. Mhm.
That's cool. I like your mindset. You're very positive, you know, and you know, to hear that is very refreshing. That's what I'm all about on this show. And one of the things that I like to do is highlight that. And that's what this show was created for. It is also created for this part of the question that I'm about to ask you. So here we go. All right. So, what was a deep moment or troublesome moment that you went through in life upon this journey in your career, and how did you get over it?
Yeah, so there was a lot of those moments actually. I want to say primarily in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
having to go through my own form of trial and tribulation because at one point I was extremely naive. They say that your partner is a reflection of you, right?
Right.
At the time, I was dating someone who was absolutely not a reflection of me. I had a very violent nature. All the gigs that I was getting at the time, I was doing camera work, by the way. This was far before King Entertainment.
Okay.
But, doing all of these things, covering for magazines, he served as a hindrance to a lot of my progress. Was very jealous natured, and it ultimately resulted in me being in a domestic relationship, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came down to the goals that I had, I found myself weighing it out, and only in his interest. Like, should I do this? Would he be available? Would he agree? And so the things that I really wanted to do at that time, all the awesome gigs that I had lined up, I really missed out because I've allowed for somebody of that nature to dictate my path. So that was a very dark time for me. And just, you don't want anybody to come into your life that's going to dictate every move that you make. Have a companion that's for you, that's with you, that supports everything that you're doing. And when I tell you, I'm so blessed beyond measure to have met Elliot Lyles, because, I was a bit of a hard shell, just feeling that any of my interests would be blocked if I were to let somebody in to my life. And he came in, and the first time I heard somebody agree with my crazy plans, he's like, yeah, that's awesome. What? Come on, what you need? And that's when I realized what love was and how it looked like, how it sounded like. So yeah, that's how
I can relate to those sentiments, because being married to my beautiful wife and being with her 21 years, but married for 15. We're on the 21st year now. Well, I'm gonna say it that way. So it's technically 20, but I'm adding that 1 year because I claimed it in the name of the Lord.
Amen.
But, being with someone that cares about you in such a way where they care about things you want to do, their dreams, their aspirations, is always a great thing, because then that can help you excel, right?
Right.
And I was from a different type of family and had to learn to be different, right? So it took a lot of change for me, but I'm thankful for that, And if it wasn't for me finding God, it probably wouldn't have changed. So I'll say that to say, it's great when you have someone that really believes in you, really cares for you, and really loves you. And for you to find that and have that is awesome. Keep your union strong. That praying that y'all do, continue to pray, continue to follow the King, and keep doing what y'all doing. All right. A few more questions before we get out of here. All right. So, as someone who enjoys hiking, survival shows, and sci-fi, do those experiences or interests help reset your mind creatively and mentally?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, my mouth a little dry.
Oh no, you're good. Look, I got my Coca-Cola right here. I'm on my third can. I need to stop and drink water.
I'm on my third water.
But yeah, totally. Oh my goodness. Into the Cosmos, Ancient Aliens. My husband and I, we started watching this one show. It's a reality show on Netflix, actually, called I Survived, Bear Grylls. And he's like this extreme survivalist. So
yeah, I'm familiar with Bear. My wife loves Bear Grylls, Naked and Afraid. Yes. Yeah, she and all that. Like, oh, you watching this? Go ahead and watch it.
And then there's the other one, the Extracted, where the family has to help their family members survive in the wilderness. So, those things are such easy distractions. Physical 100, Ninja Warrior reruns, stuff of that nature. And it brings that excitement back that, sometimes I may not have when I'm like deep into a project.
Sure.
So it definitely stimulates my brain again.
Oh, that's cool.
And then for the hiking, and then for the hiking, I have a couple places on my bucket list. So I'm always looking at videos on like summits, easy places to hike, how to, gradually make your way onto being able to hike further up. You have like Zion National Park, Yosemite, you have the Yellowstone National Park, which I'm kind of scared to go to because
huge park.
Oh, it's so beautiful. But you know, the people that go there, they're trying to pet the bisons, and I don't want to get caught in that. So yeah. So yeah.
It's not just bisons in there.
Oh no, it's grizzlies. Oh my goodness.
Cougars.
Yep. Yep.
It's a jungle out there in the forest.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. All right. So, if you could go back and talk to your younger self in Salina, right?
Mm-hmm.
What mental health advice would you give her before she entered the industry?
Whew. I'd give her a novel. I think ultimately the one piece of advice that I would give her is to think before you move forward. Think before you move forward. Consider the repercussions, the mental ones at that, and the workload. If you feel that it will be a bit much, then just step away. Or if you want to take it on, break it down. And regardless of that deadline, it's either you or that deadline. The deadline isn't as important as your health.
That's right. You know, I was watching True Story with Kevin Hart, and I remember this scene where, you know, although the story in that series was crazy, I don't know if you saw it, but okay, so I'll break it down a bit. Kevin Hart, Wesley Snipes is in it with him, and Wesley Snipes is Kevin Hart's brother. He's playing a comedian, but not himself. His brother basically sets him up to try to extort him for money. Some Russians get involved and all of this stuff, right? But he's shooting this movie, and it's a superhero movie, and they're trying to get him to shoot early, and he takes the time to literally say, no, I'm going to spend time with my son because that's more important.
That's
now,
right.
you know how that is. I can imagine just looking at your face when that was said. Because you know when the executives hear that, it's like, what?
You know, yeah,
they give you $25 million, $30-something million, and you're talking about no, let's wait.
Mm-hmm. Hey, there's no price on peace and your health.
That's right. Sometimes the deadlines to them mean more, but to us, that time is what's more important. So I agree with you there. That's why I use that analogy, because it was a very great thing to say. And I agree with you 100% there. All right. So how do you find calm in the chaos of entertainment? Does nature still play a role in grounding you?
Oh yeah, certainly. You know, you can't ever get away from nature, right? So if I'm traveling or if I do find myself at any event, I will discard myself from the crowd, of course. And that gust of wind can save you so much stress. You just got to step outside and just inhale, you know, and that's enough to get your brain back functioning and just understanding that amidst all of this, you're still alive and it's only temporary. So understand you will be coming back to this once everything is said and done. So yeah, simply just opening up the window, going for a brief walk, or again, at any event, I will be the first person to tell you that you might not find me inside the building, but you will find me on the balcony. You will find me outside, maybe by the waterfront if there is one, or I'll just venture far out from the venue. And
sometimes quiet can help a long way.
Oh yeah,
getting away from all the noise. I tend to do that myself when it's a little bit too much for me. So I understand that. All right. So here's my next question. I got 5 more questions.
Hey, bring it on. I'm ready.
All right. And this is towards women in leadership and emotional strength. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what's been your experience as a Black woman leader in PR entertainment? And how have you maintained your emotional strength through it?
So it's a bit tricky. It is a bit tricky. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like I haven't been profiled, especially when I do go into certain areas and do my traditional pitching, which, if you know me, you come to understand that I am a very optimistic, you know, extrovert when I need to be. Outside of outside of working, I can be a bit of an introvert and just keep to myself. But back to the, discussion, right? Just going into certain venues and receiving these looks or these passive responses to whatever it is that I'm trying to pitch. And knowing that it's not heading anywhere because they're not giving me the time. And I see how quick they are to service, customers that's not even really needing help, but I'm just here to pitch an artist for a playlist. It has happened. I had a bit of trouble with club promoters. Same situation, they'll be like, oh yeah, you can call me tomorrow. I'll call them tomorrow, no pickup. I email, no follow up. And it was as of maybe last week, I received an email from one of these promoters, and they had the audacity to text me, hey, I almost let this slip my mind. Now, what is it that you're trying to do again?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even respond to that because I don't entertain mess and pettiness, especially if it's unprovoked, right?
Right.
So it's been a bit tricky. Now, it has been advantageous in certain instances where, you go to a Black owned business, or talk to a Black radio personality, and, you relay your goals to them, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. So you're just trying to get your artist a bit of exposure. I mean, I love that. And you're supporting this community. But
Right.
even then, it's not like a acknowledgement of, we are we got each other. It's just casual business conversation. So it's been a bit on the fence for me. And the ways in which I try to cope is as, as I do. I just let it go. I put it in God's hands because I'm not one to antagonize. I'm not one to steer people on. I will literally let God handle it because I know God's repercussions are far greater than mine.
That's a true example of resilience within a person, though. So I will say you're very resilient when it comes to that, because some people clap back, some people get attitudes, and that doesn't, go good for business,
Right.
So to show that you're still a well-thinking, well-versed person in those situations is awesome, because we hear this a lot in the industry. I don't want to work with her. She's difficult. And that'll be the line that they'll push on through the industry, through your whole career, which will block, certain positions or anything that could possibly help elevate your career even more. So being so that you know how to be resilient and savvy enough to not drop to that level of petty because you got God on your side, it's definitely fly. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Okay. How do you handle being underestimated in rooms where you're often the only woman or the youngest expert in the room?
Oh, yeah, I take that and I use it to my advantage. I use that as leverage because I know my worth. I know my capabilities. I'm extremely well versed in anything to do with entertainment at this point. Now, the only part where I might not be as savvy is, understanding verbiage in this written English when it comes to contractual dealings and whatnot. But ultimately, I know that I'm a excellent hard worker. I'm extremely resilient. I know that I have the work ethic that a lot of people would want at these larger companies. So when people underestimate me and they give me little to nothing to do. You know, I've had this at prior companies, and I'm like, okay, cool. I will fulfill whatever it is that needs to be done. But in the meantime of me doing that, I'm going to take my own route and show that I am more than capable of taking your job.
I hear that. I'm gonna prove all the naysayers.
That's right. And that's been
I
like
hear that.
and that's a little joke that I like to throw at certain professionals that I had encountered that gave me a bit of that treatment. I'll tell my husband, I'm like, they better watch out. I might take their job. Like,
You know, I know that this is a male-dominated industry and it can be chauvinistic, as you can see. Not over here. So even in men's mental health awareness month, I still highlight the women because the women help the men. You know, we can't do nothing without the women out here. Like, that's just being real, you know? And that's why I wanted to highlight what you do, because I think you're awesome. So here's my next question. You're welcome. All right. Has leading a team of publicists changed how you view mental health within a work culture? How do you support your team emotionally?
Oh, absolutely. So first and foremost, just understanding all the great peers that I work with at Ocean 5, like I really do look at them as family. Everybody is so awesome. So if anything, I have a lot of empathy when it comes down to the topic of mental health. When it comes down to things that I do to help with understanding where they're at mentally and just trying to get a feel for like how they're feeling. I always ask them, how are you? You know, and even when they reach out, you know, I may not ask the question through text, but I would be like, I hope you're having a phenomenal, awesome day. And if you need me for anything, you know, I'm here for any questions you may have. But, you know, I leave that door open for them to confide if they want to. And knowing that, you know, whatever is said between us is not going nowhere else. You know, just let me know how you feel. So I definitely am a big fan of asking, how are you? I hope that you're doing well, because I want you to do well. But if you're not doing well, then I'm here to talk to you. I mean, I'm a great ear and I'm a great hugger too. So I give out virtual hugs. You want to meet in DC? I got you. I'll drive all the way down there and just give you like a 5-minute hug. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So what advice would you give young women in small towns who are battling mental blocks about going after big dreams like yours?
Yes. So when it comes down to just, you know, factoring in that large goal that you have in mind, understand that there's a lot of room in this industry for you to become anything that you want to be, first and foremost. But also remember that you're living this life not only for Jesus Christ and to serve, but you're living this life for you. So live out your purpose. You're going to get a bunch of no's. Everybody gets no's. This industry is the king of no's.
Yes, that is a fact. I've been getting my brunt of no's.
You know, so it's like just understanding that you're not alone in the process. It's a really, really difficult competitive market, but someone's going to love you and you're going to be very accepted in that company. Just keep working towards you. Make sure that you're you know, explicating yourself to all these companies, knowing your worth and establishing I stuttered. Establishing that dynamic with the right people, the people that have the mutual values that you have and the goals that you have. It's all about aligning yourself with the right people at the end of each day. But the goal is very feasible.
All right. What's one moment where you were proud of how you protected your peace, despite pressure to push yourself beyond your limits?
Absolutely. Yes. So there were several of those moments working retail.
Oh, you used to work retail too?
Oh, of course. I was at
Where?
I used to work at Walmart. I was actually a deli associate for 2 years, but I always found myself in the freezer. So I guess I became the freezer person,
Yeah.
doing inventory all the time. And then I was a supervisor at Starbucks and Papa John's. I was a supervisor there. But Papa John's is where that was the battleground.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're in those environments where you can't really even blame the people, it's just the circumstances. Everyone comes to this one place for the same thing, and they don't realize how stressful it can be behind the counter or at a store where you're stocking and something goes out of stock. It's things that are simply out of your control, right?
Yeah.
So the proudest moments that I've protected my peace was in this setting, retail. And let me see, what's a good one for October? Halloween is the worst day for Papa John's. Besides, besides, you know, that is Super Bowl. So I was essentially proud of myself because there was one woman. I understood her frustration because if I was a customer, I think I'd react in the same way, but I would not try to antagonize the associates, if that makes sense. It's just one of those things. Yeah, but you know, just constantly trying to antagonize me, depreciate my value, saying that I'd be at Papa John's forever and F this, F that, you know, just kind of going
Nasty rude customers. Yeah, the whole nine. I worked at Walmart too, but it didn't last long because sometimes when you first start, they try to make you the cart guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they like, we hired you as a stockman, but I need you to be the cart guy real quick. And if it's 12 below, I'm not doing this. Oh, you can come and get some hot chocolate. The hell with that. It's 0 below outside. Like, I'm quick.
Like there was a couple times I was close to walking out because they did the same thing. They'll be over the intercom. We need the deli department, the top stock, the dairy department. They'll call all the departments to the break room. And then we come in, and I'm like, okay, bet. Sometimes it'd be to the front store, you know? And I'm like, you guys gotta go and get carts. And I actually did make a comment, and it was not in the sense of like being, you know, a slick mouth person, but I was just like, but I work with food, and you guys want me to touch carts? You want me to be outside?
Right.
And I don't think
it's crazy. Walmart definitely gives crazy work.
Oh yeah.
Or as we say nowadays, nasty work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, this was awesome. Last and final question. This is the question that I ask all of my guests that come here when I'm ending the show. And it is, if it's one thing life has taught you, what is that and why?
One thing that life has taught me is to keep pushing, to get up and just keep pushing. And why that's the one thing that stands out about the theme of my life, and I feel like everyone else's, is because that's what life is. It's a hurdle course. It's full of trial and tribulations, but if you stop at that one hurdle, you can be there forever. It can stop it can stop you in your purpose, you know, it puts your purpose on pause, any opportunities that are awaiting you, and maybe they have a time where they'll present themselves. But imagine being stuck at that hurdle and you're pondering on why something didn't go right at that hurdle. Why is this? Why is that? Or you're waiting on that person to come back, right? You'd have missed out on several opportunities. So it's hard to get up sometimes, but sometimes you just gotta pick yourself up, put them bandages on your leg, and just keep going, because you're gonna eventually run or come across something that's going to benefit you and pretty much elevate you in whatever movement you're trying to bring to life.
No, that's right. Hey, listen, Lex, this was awesome.
You're awesome.
Awesome. I appreciate it. This was awesome. This was great to have you on. And, I hope you can come on again on Stirring the Pot when I do my video countdown show. And we could just chop the breeze and we could talk about some of your artists and even play some,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would enjoy that. I would love to have you back again. I love your energy. And I want to say, keep shining over at Ocean 5 and everything you're doing. I wish you nothing but success, love, and peace in your life. Continue to do God's work. You're a fly individual, and I appreciate you.
Oh, you're the best. And you're a fly individual too. Great minds think alike. Hello, we're in the same room together. So I'm just blessed beyond measure to have been on your platform. And, you're an awesome spirit. We're in this together. And I will be more than happy to pop up 1 or 2 times on your show and show up, show out, get the fly for you.
In that spirit, I'm going to do what I do on my other show, and that's stir the pot. I'm going to stir real quick.
Yes.
So listen, turn your camera off. I'm going to end it out for the folks and stay on. Don't hang up, okay?
Gotcha. All right.
All right. Folks, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. It was awesome to me. But I hope y'all got some gems from Lex. He's a dope person, dope soul, very talented, and she's a workaholic, as you can hear. She go to bat for her people, and that's what it should be when you believe in something. You do what you have to do to make it succeed, and that's all we need is more people that want to be focused, more work-driven, and willing to help make the dream come alive. So, once again, y'all watch another episode of your boy. This episode was brought to you by Hollywood TV, Hollywood Radio, Hollywood Music, Dollar Radio, Going In Radio, and yours truly. Listen, TheMoneyBrand.com. Go on there. Go get them clothes y'all need. NorShadeTheMore.com. Women, there's a lot of heels, shoes, everything y'all see in the commercial. Y'all know how stores is. They just want to highlight the things they highlight. It's way more than what you see. Pick what you need, make an order, get your discounts. And once again, it's your boy signing off. We moving and booming. Peace, love, and light to all. Put God first. And we here. Peace.
Everybody will tap in with the pot with Tigmatic.
Y'all tune into the Pop Podcast. And guess what? There's an episode of me on
and you are tuned into the Pot Podcast.
And with the Pop Podcast with my boy Tigmatic. You hear me? It's going down.
To follow the Pot Podcast with Tigmatic.
That's that number one.
That's that number one.